Hi there guys, Peacemaker, we're back with another video, and today I wanted to give my review on Peacemaker Season 2 finale and the season in whole. So let's just start off with the finale. And, well, I'm not gonna lie, I found it very underwhelming and disappointing, I liked it, don't get me wrong, I thought it was good, but it was, it was maybe the worst episode of the season. I think that episode 4 was probably the worst episode, but this episode was probably the second worst. And like I don't get me wrong, I liked it. Okay, I thought it was funny. I thought it was good, but it was just disappointing. And okay, so there were a couple things that I want to talk about because there is some good stuff, and some of it did feel filling. And like somebody even said this, and I agree with it. Which is that it felt like season 7 was the finale, and then they tried to. I mean, episode 7 was the finale, and then they just wanted to like set up a bunch of stuff, and like this was like a long post credit scene that worked because you know what it is. They just wanted to set up a bunch of stuff for the future DCU. It was an episode of just exposition. It was more so just exposition, and there was some really good emotional moments, and there was some really funny jokes, but like ultimately it was just exposition. There wasn't an action scene. Okay, there was one. There was one action scene between Langston Fury, Hardcore, and yeah, which I liked. I liked that action scene. Okay, so let's just start off with negatives because I don't want to sound negative, and I really really like the season. It's just the finale was like so disappointing. Okay, so let's just start off with negatives, right? And negatives being Peacemaker doesn't suit up once in this finale. He barely suited up throughout the entire show. I was like, oh, no, I think that in the last episode we'll get him suited up a bunch. And I was like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't suit up once in this finale. And there was so much music. Like every single scene, there was a song. There was a song. They were randomly playing songs while other characters were like talking, or there was slow mo, and it was multiple minutes divided to James Gunn's favorite bands, just showing them play and sing, and it's like, what? And that was just so disappointing. Anyway, but yeah, and then yeah, that was the main thing, but and like this season, every slow episode, every moment that I was bored with the season, which there was a good bit. Like I'm not gonna lie, I really like the season, but there was a lot of moments where like a lot of episodes I was like, this is pointless. We're going in circles. There's nothing happening here. And every single moment that I thought that everything, which was so much throughout the entire season, I cope with it by saying that that later on the season they'll make it better, and it got better. But it was like, okay, so they had to pay it off. There was so much to pay off that they didn't do anything with. Keith wasn't involved. I wanted to see Earth X and Keith. Earth X was pointless. Okay, Earth X was pointless in the season. I'm just not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so the dad isn't even racist there, which I liked. I did like that. I'm not gonna lie. I actually liked that. That was actually pretty good. But it was Earth X was pointless because it was essentially a cheat code. Like somebody said this, but like it's a cheat code. Somebody said it feels like Earth X is just kind of a cheat code, because it could have just been the season could have essentially stayed the same if it was the same Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home message, because like if it had just been like a world that he didn't like, he realized that it wasn't authentic. It wasn't the real world. It was its other universe that was, so yeah. But and I liked it being Earth X, and I really liked it, but like that finale of episode 6 got me so hyped because I thought it was amazing. It was so cool to see it was Earth X and what's going on the flag, and that was so cool. And but like mainly what Earth X was used for is jokes. And it makes you like not feel bad when civilians die. I know they're not innocent, but like it makes you not feel bad when civilians die, and it makes you not feel bad when cops die because, well, these people are racist and evil. Like it's just a cheat code. It's a cheat code for Chris to realize that he should have stayed back on our universe. So yeah, that was really it. And yeah, um, so yeah, that was disappointing. They showed way too much of this stuff in the trailers. Like all the universes were some pretty cool stuff, but like there were so much of it was shown in the trailers. It was that a little bit of that was disappointing. Because you expect there to be more than just the trailers. So yeah, there was like so much. It was just like there was so much stuff that was like just disappointing in this finale that it really left a sour taste in my mouth. And the biggest thing that infuriated me to my core. Okay, I talked about everything that like I think I may have missed something, but like that was like okay. So I talked a little bit about the entire season, but I'm more so talking about this episode right now for the start, and then I'll continue on later. I'll talk about a little bit more of some things I like because I did like stuff. I talked about a little without specifics, but yeah, I will go into specifics. But don't. This is just me ranting off about the finale. And this one this is the most I'm gonna see. Mind you, I like this episode and I really like this season and I love this show, but ultimately like this episode was a letdown. Okay, so the biggest thing that I just hated to my core. Like this is like the only thing that I hated. And like it's not like I liked it. I liked the scene individually, but like it's the hype for this episode. Okay, now you could say, "Oh, that's your own fault. That's your own fault. You shouldn't have expected all these things." That's sort of a fair point. I expected a lot for this episode. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little too hyped up for this episode. I expected too much. Okay, especially with what it was. I expected way too much. But the reason that I expected that was, well, they did a little bit of cool stuff with like, and like James Gunn was sort of honest with most of it. James Gunn was honest with most of this episode. This is what I'm talking about. James Gunn lied. Okay, he lied, and it pissed me off because I like James Gunn. I liked everything I've seen him in, which is I like everything that I've seen of from him, which is that he's like right in the direction, which is Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad, Superman, Creature Commandos, liked or loved, Guardians 2, Guardians 3, the holiday special, and Super. That's what I've seen of him. I haven't seen Slither, but still, and it was just, but like, he did kind of. I was kind of pissed at him. I was like, what? That's no, and and like so yeah, so essentially this and so he was kind of right. It was big for the universe. It probably said a man tomorrow. It was big for the universe with salvation. We'll talk about that more later and Checkmate and all that stuff. Spoilers by the way. Sorry, but whatever. It's kind of an episode review. Whatever. Listen, but so that was but it was like the hype that he said that there will be a big cameo. Now he didn't say a big cameo, he said a big cameo. Like he's okay. The point is he said it in a way where it could have been one cameo or it could have been multiple cameos, right? Now, if you had to see my past video about Peacemaker, you would have saw that I thought that I'll talk about more because I called a good prediction that a lot of people weren't talking about. It wasn't the Earth X thing, which I did call, but like that was obvious. Everybody thought that. No, something else. I'll talk about that more later. But I thought as the three big cameos in the finale would be Superman, David Cornsworth, Bloodsport, Idris Elba, and Chris Pratt coming in as we know. It was tied to it, and if you want to watch the video, you can see why. But it was tied to like a leak that came out years ago, and it seemed kind of obvious that Superman would probably appear. And then Bloodsport, that just made sense, and it was tied to. And then there was a whole Green Arrow leak. It was an entire leak process where they all leaked in one article that they said they would probably all be in it. Not Chris Pratt, but like then Chris Pratt showed up on set, and it was all very complicated. It was all one big. But like the point is, there was a lot of cameos. And I haven't seen the podcast or whatever. I haven't seen a lot of things, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, I wasn't disappointed. Like, you shouldn't be disappointed because it wasn't a big cameo fest. What are you like? oh, you spicy cameos. You know this is okay. First off, I love cameos. I don't know why the general consensus turned against cameos. Like cameo isn't good until unless there's a purpose for them being there. I like cameos. Okay, I love cameos. Don't act like you didn't love them. You just got kind of sick of them because there's so much pointless stuff. And yeah, a lot of them didn't make sense. But who cares? But those there are a bad few of anything. I like cameos. But second off, like it didn't need to be a cameo fest. But James Gunn shouldn't have said there was big cameos. If he didn't want, whatever. He said that there were big cameos, and I expected there to be big cameos. And then he goes in. Do you know what the big cameo was? It was a joke. It was a joke. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you this. The entire thing was like psych. It was a prank. It was a troll. It was a troll move by James Gunn. The big cameo was Foxy Shazam. I haven't seen the podcast of it, so I don't know if it was. But that's the only big cameo could have meant for the final episode. Okay, that's the only big cameo. What do you mean Lex Luthor from episodes ago? Did you mean Otis? Which, okay. It was really cool to see Otis. I love seeing Otis there because I love Otis. And he wasn't given enough time there. And I like seeing Otis. He had a lot more screen time in this than he did in Superman. And I love seeing Otis there. But, yeah. Was it Otis though? Was it Otis? Was it Langston Fury? Like, it was Foxy Shazam who sings the song, which don't get me wrong, I like seeing them there. I thought that was fun. I thought it was cool seeing them. But like, I thought it was like cool seeing them there because we get to see them sing the intro music. I think that was cool, and I like them being there. But that is a big cameo. Are you serious? So he meant that seriously, which is just like, are you serious, James Gunn? In a DC project, you really thought that we would be satisfied that big cameo's an indie band that you like. And then, or he meant it as a joke, which is what I thought he meant, or he just didn't care and he was just lying. He was fucking bullshit and he was pissing me off. But this was just a joke. It was a joke. It's WandaVision all over again. Where WandaVision, the Vision actor said that, I get to work with an actor I always wanted to work with. Himself. It was himself. That disappointed me then. This disappointed me a lot more. Because it's the start of the DC universe, and you gotta get it right. You can't set up you can't build up this entire big mountain of. And sorry, I had to pause for a second. Anyways, but yeah. I'm like, okay, so if you're gonna have them, like, why would you have them in the camera? So they built up this big mountain of expectations, and then they just didn't fulfill anything. Okay, and you say, well, what would you want them to do that they didn't do? Well, I don't know, fight scene, bring in Earth-X, bring in Keith, have Peacemaker wear his costume, have there be an action scene besides one at the very beginning with, like, little monster, like, gummy bear things, Langston Fury, and Hardcore. Something besides that, like with Peacemaker, maybe. But and Vigilante, maybe the actual characters of the show. But yeah, and there was a lot of cool stuff here. I don't want to undermine that, but like, just like that big cameo. No, you don't get to do that to us. You don't get to set up all these expectations. There was a bigger cameo with fucking Superman with Supergirl. That was cool, and I think it was pretty widely suspected that she would be in the movie. But that was cooler than this shit. There was no cameo here. There was fucking just get out of here. It was bullshit. And yeah, I know I ranted about this episode for a while, but I liked it. Okay, I liked it, and I love the show, and I really like this season. But there wasn't really much here, and I'm gonna talk about what I liked about this episode. And first off, I think that it was really funny. Okay, I think that there was a lot of gags, especially Vigilante, him being funny, like that one bit where he's like, yeah, I checked I didn't see him at the retro arcade, and then Akon was like, he hangs out at a retro arcade. He's like, no, I wanted to go play Frogger. And that was funny. And then I think Vigilante was really funny with the blood money stuff. And like, I would just prefer to kill like Judge's family. I think that he was just really funny throughout the entire episode. And like, I think that just like all the stuff was just really funny. Langston Furious, really funny as usual with him talking about that guy of the stripper store and stuff. That was funny. And him actually finally quizzing Vigilante about like spider facts. That was cool. And there was a lot of cool stuff. I liked seeing Odyssey. I love seeing Odyssey. Um, I thought that it was like I thought that was really coolly handled. I thought it was like handled really cool. I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. I thought that there was a lot of cool, really good drama in the like series, and like I know it sounds weird, but like it goes like I think that like the like all the stuff between the characters, between the 11th Street kids, which I'm so happy we don't have to call them that anymore. Between Checkmate, finally, I hated the 11th Street kids name. Okay, it wasn't even really a thing. It was sort of kind of a little bit of a thing in season 1, and then James Gunn just took that and made it an entire name. It's like, we're the 11th Street kids. It's like, what? Okay, finally, between Checkmate, Adebayo, and like Peacemaker, all these different characters, and like between like the rest of Checkmate and Peacemaker, yeah, and I think in between Adebayo and her wife, who she should go back to Colin, she should go back to Walter due to the fact that now she's divorced, and it would just make sense. And I think that the whole salvation thing, where this is kind of set up for probably Darkseid. Darkseid will probably be the main villain of the DC universe, which I think is really cool. Because I do like that, and I do think that the salvation thing, that's really cool setup. Where they put them in the comic, essentially they put a bunch of where Amanda Waller just puts a bunch of supervillains on this place. It's salvation. That's essentially this, and then it turns out that Darkseid's there, and all the parademons are there, and then that's probably what it is. For Justice League movie in the future. So yeah. So yeah, that was cool to see, but but it was so disappointing. But like, and then oh, and one more thing, and this sounded negative, but it ties into salvation, so that's why I saved for. And Peacemaker really should have had his costume. He could have easily worn it in the last couple minutes, and then he could just that's why they kidnap him. And then when they kidnap him, he's not Christopher Smith in Salvation. He's Peacemaker in Salvation. So next time I see him, he's probably gonna be like shirtless, which I don't want. I want him in the Peacemaker outfit. That would be cool. But no, instead he just like whatever. Yeah, it was cool setup, but still. And then there was just it was, and then there was Checkmate, which I really thought was cool. I thought that them using Adrian's blood money, even though they didn't bring up the fact that they needed a lawyer again. Okay, because they like got a bunch of money for bail, and then they got a bunch of money to assemble Checkmate, and like I really thought that like this was what was gonna happen was that like she was gonna be like, oh, we need a lawyer, and he's gonna be like, and then Vigilante would be like, oh, and he was like randomly offshoot mentioned that he like studied in law school and he has like a law degree, which would be funny and just add to the randomness and funniness of the character. And it wouldn't make sense that you could explain it in a way that would be just like a joke more so, and then he could represent Peacemaker, and then he would get Peacemaker out, and then it would be like and then that would also be like in the comics. So then the comics, Adrian Chase is like a lawyer, and in the comics he's completely different. He's the Punisher, but instead of a war veteran, he was a lawyer. Obviously in this universe he's really different, but it would have been a cool way to tie it in. Yeah, we didn't need that, but like it was still kind of cool. They kind of just ignored that plot line. Anyways, but yeah. Anyway, seeing Checkmate was really cool. I'd like Langston Fury being there. Didn't really like Mrs. being there because I didn't like her. She was just a bitch throughout the entire season, and it was really cool because I'm saying this. I predicted Checkmate. I don't think I did, but I predicted Checkmate. I predicted Checkmate this entire time. And then I did not this entire time. Okay, not even close to this entire time. But this episode, when the moment that Hardcore was like, you need to go talk to you need to go talk to, like, she was like to the Cyborg Mrs. She's like, you need to go talk to like, there's this woman I know that I think you should talk to, she has ideas for that. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be checkmate, because like first off, she's the Waller, so she takes the place of Amanda Waller in the role, and second off, the cyborg Mrs. is in the team in the comics, and then yeah, it would just make sense for them to form checkmate. And they've been setting that up in this entire season. So yeah, checkmate was formed, and I did predict it. But yeah. Anyways, but yeah, then there was an entire thing about but I didn't like Judo Master either, because I hate Judo Master. One thing, I hate Judo Master. I didn't like him in season 1, but I thought he was funny because he was supposed to be annoying. But he should have died in season 1 because his stick got old, and it got back to the point where he was just annoying. Okay, and there was the last episode 7. He wasn't really annoying in this episode, but in episode 7, he was like, he wasn't really annoying. Because he was actually kind of a good character, and if he hadn't been that throughout the entire season, he would have been a good character. But no, instead he was annoying prick, and this would just and I don't want him. I don't know why James Gunn has an obsession with this character where he should die, but he just can't die. He could have died the first episode we seen him. He could have died when he got out of in season 1. He could have died the first episode that we seen him, which is episode 3. He could have died when Adebayo shot him. He could have died. He should have been there with the butterflies and died at the end of the season. He could have died throughout this entire season, but he didn't. Okay, and I thought that there was a good gag with this character, how he was wearing the Judo Master costume under the actual outfit that he had to wear, and then there was some wholesome moments eagerly hugging Cosmos, and for and I thought there was I did so ultimately I liked the episode, but it was very disappointing. There was I think that talking about the season overall, there weren't really many negatives. I kind of covered them all. That a lot of it felt a little slow, a little boring, but ultimately, I think that this season was actually really good. Potentially better than the last one. Probably not though. Especially with the finale of the last one being really good. This one being not so good. So maybe not. I think that this entire season was. I think that this better was. It was a lot funnier. Okay, there was so much funny stuff. Vigilante was even funnier than he was in the last one. I thought it was really funnier. Tim Meadows as Lance of Fury's introduction, he was hilarious. A lot of this had me hysterical laughing throughout the entire show, and even Earth X. You kind of wasted Earth X, but I still like Earth X. Because I talked about why it probably could have just easily been There's No Place Like Home, and I like seeing Earth X, and I like the twist, and I like all that stuff, but we didn't really do much with it. We didn't make it an evil universe. I guess we did, but we didn't really go all in on that and make them attack Earth and whatever. I thought that it was really funny. I thought that Vigilante was really funny. I thought that, but the Nazi thing, the main thing that we did with it was that it was for jokes, which I didn't like, but it was funny. I'll give it that. It was funny, the Swastika croc charm, that was funny. The Swastika croc charm, that was just really funny. That was pretty funny. And then the really funny joke was that there was a giant mural of Hitler. The entire time there was a giant mural of Hitler. That was really funny, but essentially it was just a way for them to kill cops, make this place an evil place, and joke. But whatever. But I did think that. Also, we didn't really connect him to the Sons of Liberty. The Sons of Liberty were there for one episode where he kills him, and then Vigilante support him, but we didn't connect him in. We don't know what happened to Vigilante. That universe Vigilante. He kicks the door open. He was about to fight a bunch of cops, and then nothing. But then, ultimately, I did really like this episode. I'm not trying to go too in depth on my entire. I'm not trying to go take too long with my entire review of the season, but I did really like the season. I could say I love the season, but I don't know, especially with the finale. If the finale landed it, then I would say I love the season. but it didn't land it. It landed a little bit, but it really missed ultimately. I do think that it is inconsistent how quickly Rick Flag turns. Rick Flag Senior. I like him becoming a villain. I think that's really cool. But I think that it would have been a little bit cooler if it was a little bit more built up throughout the entire season. Because throughout this entire season, he's a little bit of a prick. He's a little bit of an asshole, but you kind of understand. You see where he's come from. He's an antagonist. He's not a villain. He's an antagonist. But then for the last episode, he was just directly evil. Him putting Peacemaker, that was like, that made sense, and that was actually pretty good for his life. But then, he just didn't care about his employees' lives, and they were continuously dying. He just didn't give a shit. But yeah, so yeah, ultimately, I did really like this season. I love the show. I almost love the show. I mean, I almost love this season. The finale was underwhelming and disappointing. It was good, but it was underwhelming and disappointing. And I thought there could have been so much cooler stuff happen in the finale, but instead, no. We just got nothing. And, we have to see Earth X. If Earth X isn't Peacemaker Season 3, which I assume to set up, then fine. If they somehow do Peacemaker stuff. But we have to see Earth X. Like, I think we should see Earth X in a Justice League movie. Because I like Earth X, and I like the concept of Earth X, and I really like it. But, just, like, it's like, we kind of wasted here. I'm not gonna lie. It's just mainly for jokes. And so it could essentially be a cheat code that Chris has to come back. And essentially just for them to kill a bunch of civilians and cops without feeling any remorse and make them still the good guys. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't like it. I really like this season. Love the show. But ultimately, the finale was underwhelming. And yeah. Anyways, so if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.